Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to make an Incline Ice Dye Heart. The first thing you want to do is start by centering your shirt, and for this project I'm using the sleeve inside the other sleeve technique. Once I have the shirt centered, I want to isolate out the front of the shirt. And what that means is I want the heart to be only on the front of the shirt, not on the front and the back of the shirt. So what I did there is I flipped the whole back of the shirt up towards the top of the screen there, and all I have in front of me is just the front of the shirt. Now ignore that yellow line. I didn't like where I had the heart placed. I felt it was just a little too low. So I got out the stencil, got out the red washable marker, and I retraced the stencil. Now it's time to pleat along that red line. And you want to make that line as straight as possible. And when making hearts, I find that if I start at the curved part of the heart, I'm able to make it around that bend a lot easier. But you just do whatever works best for you. Now it's time to secure your pleats, and for this project I'm using sinew, and the reason why I'm using that is because I do want the white line to separate the heart from the rest of the shirt. And what I do is I wrap it a couple of times around, make sure that it's all lined up nice and straight with that red line, and then I pull it really super tight. And then I wrap it around 3 or 4 more times and I pull it even tighter. And then I want this line to be nice and thick, so I wrap it around 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more times until I get it to the right width that I want. And for this shirt, since it is an adult size shirt, I want that white line to be a little bit bigger, a little more pronounced. Now, for the body of the shirt, I'm just going to continue to work on the pleats, and I'm just going to secure it with rubber bands. You could use sinew if you wanted white lines, or you could use kite string if that's what you have and that's what you prefer. I just really like rubber bands because they're quick and they're easy. And I'm going to pleat up until I get to that neckline where the fabric becomes thick, and then we're going to do something different. Now for the rest of the shirt, which is the sleeves and the back of the shirt, you're just going to want to do a simple scrunch. You could continue to do pleats all the way to the end of the shirt if you want to, but for this one, I wanted to do a scrunch. And it's very simple. You just scrunch, 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 and then secure with my favorite rubber bands. Now, I got these off of Amazon, and I do have a link for them down in the description box, along with pretty much everything else that I use. Now it's time for the fun part. We get to add the dye. So I set my shirt on this rack and I put it down inside of a bin. And this is one of my more shallow bins. I want to say it's maybe a 6-inch incline, so it's not going to be very drastic. So in case this is the first time you're watching one of my tutorials, I'm going to explain the spoons. So for those of you that have already seen me talk about this, bear with me. So I got my spoons at Walmart and I reused them. Yes, they are disposable, but that's wasteful. And I use 1 spoon per each pot of dye because I do not want to cross-contaminate. So for instance, the Power Berry, that's a very dark, powerful purple, and I would hate to use that spoon and stick it in, let's say, lavender, and then ruin the whole pot. So that's just me. And when I'm done with my spoons, I take them to the sink, give them a quick rinse, and then I put them in the dishwasher. And when they're dry, I stick them back in the box and I reuse them. So once all of the dye is on the shirt, it's time to get it ready for the ice. And I'm using these cake molds. And I got the idea from Angie over at Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. And most of you probably have already seen her videos, but if you haven't, head over there and check her out because she's fabulous. Now, I use these clothespins to hold the cake molds in place because if I don't, the ice will just push the cake molds right over. So you'll want to secure your cake molds. Or you could use tin foil if you don't have the cake molds. It's already starting to look so pretty. So the ice is melted, obviously, and it definitely needs more dye. So flip it over and just repeat the process. So some of you may have noticed on the front side, I didn't put Power Berry down on the scrunch portion of the shirt. The reason I didn't is because I was concerned that Power Berry would overtake all of the scrunch because it's a pretty dark color and can be, really powerful. But I did feel like it was a little bit too light, a little too lavender, so I did add Power Berry to the scrunch part on this flip side. I didn't add a lot, but I did put some. So these days we all have masks laying around the house, and I strongly suggest you just quickly pop on a mask and then give your shirt a quick sprinkle of soda ash. This soda ash layer is for good measure. Because we're adding a second layer of ice, I want to make sure there's soda ash in the cotton fabric to make sure that it will react with the dye during the batching. Then you're going to set it aside, and after the ice melts, you're going to wait 24 hours before rinsing. So it's been 24 hours and it's time to rinse out the shirt. So you want to start by using cold water. That washes out any soda ash that might still be left in the shirt, and gradually increase the water up to hot and rinse until the water runs clear. Now I'm going to take the shirt to the washing machine. I do a hot water cycle. I do a second hot water cycle using Synthropol, and I do a third hot water cycle using Milsoft, and Milsoft brings softness back into the fabric after the dye process. I'm going to put it in the dryer and we'll come back and see our results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our shirt after it's been washed and dried, and I think it turned out beautiful. I love all the purple colors. I like the way that we get some pleats that are going around the heart and then it ends up in a scrunch. I just think that looks really cool. And I like the white sinew line being a little bit thicker around the heart. And the back, the scrunch looks so pretty with all the different colors, and it looks so textured, and I don't know, I'm just in love with this shirt. What do you guys think? Go ahead and leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a thumbs up and click the bell for future notifications. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.